In the previous lesson, what we had seen was the formation of male gamete inside the pollen grain. While discussing it, we covered what the male gametophyte was and how it was formed, from where it was formed. Now we are going to shift to the female gamete and we are going to see what is the female gametophyte, how it leads to the formation of the female gamete, that is egg. So we are going to cover the topic of megasporogenesis. Now before you start with megasporogenesis, you have to revise what you studied when we had discussed about the typical anatropous ovule structure. If you remember, inside it we had talked about a word known as embryo sac. If you cannot recall, I would suggest you to watch that lesson where we had discussed the structure of an ovule. Ovule that lies inside the ovary, which is joined to ovary by the agency of a placenta, and for that you can watch the lesson of placentation as well. But only structure of ovule would do for understanding this megasporogenesis. First thing is that megasporogenesis is going to take place in megasporangium. Now, what is megasporangium? That is the ovule, alright, the site where megasporogenesis is going to take place. So, the site happens to be ovule. Now, what is to be formed out of this megasporangium? A megaspore. The name for megaspore is embryo sac. And inside the megaspore, you are going to find the female gamete that has the name of egg or ovum. We use the word egg over here. This entire process is summarized in these three terms and you have to know how it happens. Now, if you remember, we had the structure of ovule something which looked like this. There was a nucellus, there were integuments, integument number 1, integument number 2, there was micropyle. Now, where we are going to concentrate our studies is this particular zone where we had nucellus. And as we studied the structure, we talked about an embryo sac being present over here. So, we have to see how this nucellus is going to give rise to the embryo sac, because again the ovule is sporophytic. Sporophytic means that it is diploid. Now, the ovule's nucellar cells are 2n, that means they are diploid. Because we are talking about megasporogenesis, because we are concerned about the female gametophyte, that is the embryo sac, and as you know the gametophyte has to be haploid, so the nucellar cell has to undergo meiosis. Now, this nucellus, some cell of the nucellus that undergoes meiosis, only one cell. Please remember, unlike the microsporogenesis where most of the sporogenous tissue became pollen mother cells and they underwent meiosis, over here one of the cells of nucellus will undergo meiosis, meiotic division, and the cell that undergoes meiosis will be known as MMC. Now, what this MMC stands for? Megaspore mother cell, alright. While there was PMC, here we have megaspore mother cell, a cell that is undergoing meiotic division, forming 4 cells and later on giving rise to megaspore. That is why it is called megaspore mother cell. Now, this cell undergoes meiosis and it forms certain cells. There are certain stages that we are going to study diagrammatically and understand what this megasporogenesis is all about. Theoretically, we are done with it, what it is going to deal with. Now, supposedly we are inside the nucellus and over here you have a megaspore mother cell. This is the megaspore mother cell that would be diploid. This megaspore mother cell will undergo first meiotic divisions and will form megaspore dyad, okay, 2 cells. As we have pollen tetrad, Here we have a dyad and it is followed by the second meiotic division, which gives rise to 4 cells which don't get separated, and that is tetrad. Now out of this tetrad, one of the cells, supposedly this cell, this is going to undergo mitotic division. These 3 will degenerate. It is a nucellar cell of nucellus, that is MMC, megaspore mother cell, which is diploid. It becomes megaspore dyad, divides by meiosis 1. Here we have meiosis 2. And we have 4 cells in the end. Now, one of these 4 is going to see the following divisions. What are the divisions that is going to take place? First of all, this cell is going to increase in size. It is going to take the nutrition from these cells. These are going to degenerate. Okay. So, they degenerate. This one is remaining. This one increases in size and undergoes first meiotic division, resulting in formation of 2 nuclei. But such is the division that cytokinesis does not take place. So, you have 1 cell, 2 nuclei. Okay? This is the first meiosis. Mitosis, pardon me. Now, it is not going to undertake meiosis, instead it is first mitosis. So, you get an idea what would be the ploidy of cells at this level. We have got the haploid condition, okay. Haploid cell in the tetrad undergoes mitosis. Certainly, this would also be haploid, but there are 2 haploid nuclei which are present. Then what happens is there is second mitosis. Now, second mitosis would result in division of this cell and not completely division. There would be 4 nuclei that would be formed. Out of these 2, it would be formation of another nucleus, and we have 4 nuclei which are formed. Here again, the stage is haploid. Then there would be another mitotic division, that would be third mitosis, where these 4 cells, I hope this is visible to you, where there would be these 4 would give rise to 8 nucleus or 8 nuclei, grammatically correct. So, you have a cell which is haploid, which is a single celled 8 nucleate stage. Okay. This is a single cell 8 nucleate stage, you have to remember. Now, what is this? This is nothing but female gametophyte under formation. So, if we get how megasporogenesis is taking place. Female gametophyte is being formed. Now, what happens next? I hope these stages are clear. Now, we are going to carry forward the last stage, and what happens next is, because no cytokinesis has taken place, we have a condition known as syncytium present. Now, the syncytium is a condition where we have many nuclei present inside a cell. Now, what happens is, when we have the actual female gametophyte that we aimed at achieving when we started with this process, has to be 7-celled 8 nucleate. This gametophyte that is under formation has to have, in particular needs to have a female gamete, that is the egg. So, what happens is that these 8 nuclei, they arrange themselves in a manner that 3 go to one end, okay, that side where chalaza lies, and 3 come to another end, that side where micropyle is present. 2 remain in middle, okay, and as they arrange themselves, there is formation of cell wall around each nucleus. So, we get cytokinesis as well. But cytokinesis is such that two of the nuclei, they remain within one cell. I hope you get what I am trying to tell is, we said that we are going to have a 7-celled 8-nucleate stage. So, we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. 7 cells we have got as a result of formation of cell walls. And how many nuclei are present? There are 8 nuclei which are present. So, this is the female gametophyte. Certainly it is haploid, and what all it has? Firstly, where lies the female gamete? That is the egg. This is the female gamete which would unite with those two male gametes which are coming from the pollen. So, this is the female gamete, and hence we have completed the megasporogenesis. Along with these female gametes, we have two synergids. These cells are called as synergids, two of them. Now, this lies towards the end of micropyle. Okay. Now, where was micropyle? You have studied the structure of ovule, so you will get an idea. Micropyle is that pore where integuments are absent. This lies towards the micropyle. These synergids have an arrangement known as filiform apparatus. Now, why it is filiform? Because it is finger-like, though my diagram does not show it finger-like because it is quite small in size. There is a filiform apparatus present inside the synergids. Each synergid is having its own filiform apparatus, which is finger-like arrangement that allows the movement of the male gamete towards the egg. Okay, so we have two synergids. We have filiform apparatus towards the micropyle, and the gamete itself lies towards the micropyle. Now, what lies towards the chalazial end? The three cells which lie towards the chalazial end, they are antipodal cells. These cells are responsible for, again, nourishment that is required when fertilization takes place. And then we have the central cell, that is the largest of them, and it houses two polar nuclei. So, with this, we get to know what female gametophyte is like and how it is formed. It is a 7 cells, 2 synergids, 1 egg, 3 of them, 3 antipodals, that counts to 6, and 1 central cell, that happens to be the 7th one. So, we have 7 cells and nuclei, as I discussed earlier also. Due to 3 mitotic divisions, consecutive mitotic divisions, we have 8 of nuclei which are present, that are arranged in such a manner as represented over here. So, what is this? This is the female gametophyte. We had megaspore being formed, and inside the megaspore, that was certainly haploid, we have the female gamete. So, this is all about megasporogenesis. When we start with the next lesson, we see how these two gametes which are being formed, they come in close contact with each other and lead to the process known as fertilization. Now, for knowing what fertilization is, you have to watch the next lesson.